When you democratize technology and you put it in the hands of almost everybody, you empower everyone.
AI is be the biggest thing in this decade, I would say.
We are at the very, very beginning of using machine learning really in every way in which we connect with the world.
We are very excited about, look, I've been in the semiconductor industry, over 30 years, and there were times when nobody knew what a semiconductor was. But today, I think everybody at least appreciates that, semiconductors and chips can help power numerous things.
I think it's just a pre-game show. I think we're just getting to the more interesting part where technology is going to have a much bigger role in progressing the world forward.
Potential value of AI is to be able to accelerate our learning cycle, so in some way accelerate R&D.
So the Willow chip is able to handle a computation in less than 5 minutes that previously on the best supercomputers on the planet today would take 10 septillion years.
The cloud is essentially the ability for companies of all sizes, all types, to run all of their infrastructure in a way that feels infinite and like it has no specific place.
I know that for a fact that there's no such thing as a franchise value. And so that means every day you have to get up and hopefully you're doing things that are going to be relevant tomorrow.
What we're trying to do is see where the technology takes us, deploy it into the world to actually understand how people are using it, where the risks are, where the benefits are, what people want, how they'd like it to evolve, and then sort of co-evolve the technology with society.
All right, everyone. A warm welcome to us here at NBIM, and thank you for taking time out of your lives to spend that with us this afternoon and evening. So we are really happy to have you here. We have a great set of presentations about the technology and security stack that we have. But first, let us introduce ourselves. We will be your hosts this evening. My name is Gunnar Lunde. I am head of the market exposure delivery team. And what I do is that I have a set of developers together with me that develop our internally built investment platform. Kjetil?
Yes, my name is Kjetil Lysen. I'm head of data here at NBIM. We manage the data platform and build the data warehouse and provide data for our analysts.
And my name is Selina. I work in the Cybersecurity Center as a cybersecurity engineer. My job is basically just to make sure that the oil fund is safe.
Yes, so there's just some practical things. So basically, if something happens, we will leave this place together. The guards will show us out. There are some toilets over there. Yeah.
I think that's more or less it. Yes.
Yep.
To kick off this amazing evening, please give a warm welcome to our CTOO, Birgitte Bryne.
Welcome, everyone, to us here in the fund. We have really been looking forward to today and planned for a long time. We get a lot of incoming calls and people that want to meet us and want to hear what we are doing in technology. And then we found out that why don't we just invite people here and then we can talk about it and we can explore together in the future how we're going to move forward to bring this country also moving forward in this very exciting area. We see that as an investment firm, that lines between technology and investments are becoming more and more blurred, more and more integrated, and that gives us a lot of opportunities. So today, we are going to talk a bit about what we are doing and sharing with you, and then we're going to have a social event afterwards so we can get to know each other. So again, warm welcome to all of you.
At NBIM, technology is a key area of focus. Not just as a support function for our employees, but as a strategic enabler. We are constantly looking at how technology can improve the experiences for our investment teams. NBIM has been through, over the years, a significant technology journey. from fully outsourced operations to a modern cloud-native environment. In the next few moments, I'm going to take you through this journey. A journey that made it possible to do all the stuff that you're going to see this evening. Before 2017, all of our technology was fully outsourced. We had 2 data centers in Amsterdam, and the reason why we had 2 was simply because of redundancy in case of one of them went down. But this setup did give us some challenges. We had even a story about a consultant that had to physically go to Amsterdam and connect to the drivers when they were down to get them back up again. So that meant that we had to maintain everything ourselves, from replication between the data centers to maintenance and when fixed when downtime occurred. Procurement also had its problems. Something as simple as replacing disks could take months due to delays in the supply chain. So in short, we had to handle every aspect of the infrastructure on ourselves. And this, from an operational standpoint, was far from ideal. So in 2017, we launched the ISAC project, a project that was significant in our technology journey. It focused on 4 key pillars. Insourcing, we wanted the best talent in-house and build internal expertise rather than relying heavily on consultants. Security, we focused on strengthening our security posture, which was top priority across the entire organization. Automation, with fewer in-house developers than consultants, we knew that automation was essential. So infrastructure as code became a core part of increasing efficiency. Lastly, cloud. We went all in on the cloud. Strong internal support ended up with us choosing AWS as our cloud provider. And we started our migration to AWS in 2018. And by 2019, this transformation was complete. So between 2017 and now, NBIM has built a modern development environment. An environment that allows our developers to deliver features to our investment teams quickly and efficiently. We have a setup that gives developers the tools, the autonomy, and the support they need to do this fast without compromising quality and security. Crucially, all of this has only been possible due to strong support from our leadership group. With their push on a cloud-first strategy, we now have created foundation for innovation. This has made it possible for us to test new advanced technologies, such as AI. We are integrating AI in our daily life to streamline processes, to boost our productivity, and to make smarter decisions. So today, you will see all the cool stuff that we have been able to build as a result of this. So Gunnar, please feel free to present our first presenter.
All right, so one of the things that we have used this platform for is to build this internal investment platform. So we buy when we can, we buy software when we can, but we build when we have to, when our requirements are so specific and unique that nobody can deliver the software that we need. So this is also what I spend the most of my time on, but now to present this, we will have our UX UI designer, Helene Stenstadvold, present our internal system in a presentation she has called Managing Complexity Through the Burden of Really Big Numbers. Helene?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So nice to see all of you. I've been really excited to tell you about what I'm working on all day, every day, thinking about when I sleep at night and all of that. Let's see. Yes, OK. In 1996, two very important things happened. I was born, and the first deposit was made into the account of Norges Pensjonsfond Utland of 1.9 billion Norwegian kroners. As you all know, that number is huge today. It is so much more. It is actually, can you read this? Can anybody read this? Hands up. I actually, before I had my first interview here, I sat down and studied this number because I was like, what if they ask me what this number is? So this is 19,000 billion Norwegian kroners, which is so huge that you can't really understand it. So I've made some small visualizations here to maybe make you understand it. What if we were to cover the entire ground with Norwegian 1 kroners? So we were to sell all of our assets and have 19,000 billion Norwegian kroners on the ground. So everywhere you walked, you would step on money, basically. That would cover this area. So you could almost walk to Bergen from Oslo and walk on money, which is pretty stupid. So I don't think we're going to do that. Or we could stack this money on top of each other and maybe win the space race if we were to climb on top of this money, because that would take us 33 million kilometers into space, reaching beyond Venus, which is also pretty crazy. So the number itself is big, but the daily operations here are also incredibly enormous in size. So each day we have transactions going through the walls here at NBIM of 450 million kroners. That is more than is traded at Børsen every single day, and it is a fourth of the state budget that we handle here every single day. Crazy. What makes this even more complex is that some or most investment firms focus on one portfolio, but NBIM as a whole is one portfolio. We want all sub-portfolios at NBIM to be doing or performing great. So NBIM is divided into a lot of different portfolios for several reasons. We have different investment and asset classes. We have different sectors we want to be performing well in, etc. So to try to keep track of this, it's very important to have an overview of where everybody is investing. This can mean that if I was a portfolio manager, for example, wanting to buy stocks in Rose Company Co., then I would check internally first if there was somebody else in NBIM wanting to sell something in Rose Company Co., because this happens a lot. We have different responsibilities here, that sometimes you would want to sell something when your colleague would want to buy something. Doing this and having an overview of this actually saves us a lot of money. We're speaking billions here. We usually are speaking billions here, but and it makes NBIM the biggest marketplace that you have never heard of. So all of this we have to manage somewhere. And one of the places we are managing this is in Polaris. Polaris is what I work on every day, and that is NBIM's main platform for portfolio management and trading. Before we had Polaris, we had a ton of different tools. What is really, really cool about working here at NBIM is that everyone is incredibly smart. It's kind of daunting to start working here and realizing that everybody knows a lot about everything, which is really cool. So we have quite a few portfolio managers and traders that code themselves and make supporting applications. And we have, in return, we have a lot of different applications that need to be maintained. And what is also very particular about NBIM is that we are not that many people that you might think. So we have a lot of money, but there are not that many people that actually manage this. So what ends up happening is that each person has very, very, very specific needs. Oops. So how do we take all of these different applications and consolidate them into one platform while still keeping the speed and agility for each person that uses it? And speed is the key word here, because one click, again, is worth a lot of money. So if you spend too much time getting somewhere, then that might be a very bad thing. Yes, so this is Polaris. Polaris is not just what you see, but it is a lot of work that lies behind the application that I will, of course, show you afterwards. Polaris consists of a backend that lets developers build their own nodes and endpoints directly into the backend to build front-end applications and/or reports directly into one common and collaborative platform. What is a really key user benefit for this is that we pull all core systems into the same backend, which again, in return, makes it a lot easier for our users to use because they no longer have to go into several different applications to perform everyday actions. And then on top of that, we have the application itself, which is built using UX and business knowledge, which again is very, very important for scalability reasons. If we think ahead and try to look at the platform as a whole, it's a lot easier to have a platform that will live on for many years to come. This is some small images of Polaris, the platform. We are building everything in-house, and that is very, very, very important. We are not like any other investment firm. It's super important that we can control the entire process. And here we actually control absolutely everything. So the close icon in the top left corner could be a smiley face, maybe a sad smiley face. Are you closing me now? Yes, so we are controlling absolutely everything. And that lets us do a lot of cool things. The main feature of Polaris is flexibility. Each person that uses Polaris, we're on first-name basis with everyone, really. So I know exactly what each person wants, and they're able to get exactly that in Polaris. Previously, we had a lot of static tables, etc., but now they're able to build their own user interface and pull in components that they can then rearrange as they would like and see exactly what they need when they need it. All of these components then listen into a data channel where we pre-filter the data that they see. This makes it a lot easier for them to actually have a stable and reliable platform, or for us to give them a stable and reliable platform, because we don't give them everything up front. We have had a rework of the Polaris platform, and previously it was very difficult to load the biggest portfolios. It would stop completely, and it's not that weird because the main portfolio has over 15,000 rows. So that sort of makes sense that it's difficult to load all of that data. But now we're able to filter that out and provide some speed and agility there. But it's not only the layout itself that is flexible. We are also making the data itself flexible so that users can build their own reports and mix and match columns and data as they would like. Before now, we've had a very manual process where a developer would have to go in and build a table or a graph or whatever it may be for the portfolio managers and traders, whereas now, very soon, they will be able to do absolutely everything themselves and pull and drag and drop data as they would like as well. I'm going to give you a very quick demo of how a normal person or a normal portfolio manager would spend their time in Polaris. This is a sketch, because I'm not allowed to show you the real deal from right now, unfortunately. So don't base your investments on this, because you will be very disappointed. Actually, I think I'm going to just jump up here. You over there can see as well. OK, so this is the portfolio table overview. It's a preset that we have made for the portfolio managers. And what most of them use this for is to get a good grip of what are my holdings. So where are they today? Where is it opposed to the benchmark? Because that's what everybody is looking towards. Am I close or far away from the benchmark? So right here, this is why I have to stand up here now. We have the benchmark column. It says 100. And then we have the holdings column says 97. So we are -3. And I want that to get to a 0. So I'm going to write 0 in the simulations column. And then it automatically populates the simulations beneath. And what is really cool about this is that it then also simulates the rest of your portfolio. So portfolio managers are able to build up their own trade programs and see how this changes the portfolio as a whole using these data that is all sent back. Yes, so that's just a short use case for that. So to summarize, how do we manage complexity? First and foremost, we have to make sure that we are building something that works for everyone while still being able to be a bit more customizable. But most importantly, we have to make sure that it is stable and reliable. If the users cannot trust the platform or trust the data, we have already failed. So having the correct data structure in place and architecture in place is detrimental to have a good working software, to be able to handle all of this complexity. And then, lastly, is to be able to provide flexibility and scalability. So that would mean, in our case, giving them the possibility to basically use Polaris as a building block to create their own perfect idea of what a portfolio and trading tool should be. And secondly, to have principles in place for them to make it not look bad. Thank you so much.
Has started.
AI is the one that I've been thinking about my whole life and wondering, okay, how hard is it? How are we going to get this? Now, it's actually surprised me that we have this acceleration.
I think it's going to make everybody richer, but I think it positively impacts poor people the most. It should be particularly true for the democratization of intelligence.
My entire confidence in this generation of AI started when I started seeing from GPT-3 to 3.5 and that implementation in GitHub.
ChatGPT is unquestionably the single best software product the world's ever made. This is the easiest product to use on the planet. Anybody could use it.
All right, so now we're going to have a quick panel debate about AI. And we thought we were going to discuss this from a couple of different angles. So we're going to discuss this from an organizational level and then bring it down to the individual level afterwards. And hopefully also we can discuss a bit or compare what NBIM has done, our efforts and our voyage, to what others have done. And to help us with that, we have invited our top technology management and also a couple of external experts to help us with this. So let's introduce them quickly. So we have Alexander Stensby. He is from Grit AI Studio. And for nearly 2 decades, Alexander has been leading digital transformations. But now, Alexander is focusing on making AI accessible and practical. So he's building real solutions to real-world problems, and he does that with passion and determinations, which I guess is why we call the company Grit. A fun fact about Alexander is that in addition to AI, he has a couple of hobbies. He really enjoys running, but he also enjoys shooting. And now he's been able to combine those into one sport, and it's called forest running with shooting. And I guess summer biathlon is a more accurate sentence, maybe. And he's actually currently the regional champion of Vestfold.
Impressive, yes. And then we have also with us Dr. Robert Engels. He runs Capgemini's global AI lab. He has a PhD in AI, and he has actually worked with AI since before we had cell phones. So definitely, I look forward to hear your perspectives. Before the internet even, yes, definitely. So a long time, and before Helena was born. So yes. Fun fact about Robert: he's an engineer by heart. Definitely, he built the first street legal motorbike, electric motorbike in Norway, and he still rides that one today. Yeah.
And then we have Birgitte here. Birgitte is our Chief Technology and Operations Officer. So she oversees the technology infrastructure that enables us to manage one of the largest portfolios in the world. And she has solid experience from service technology leadership from various large financial institutions. But that's not the only job that Birgitte has here. She has another important role. She is the rock and roll voice of NBIM. So when she's not managing our tech and operations, she is the lead singer of our internal house band called Reputational Risk.
Great. And last but not least, we have Nikolai. I think 5-6 years ago, you would have to be very interested in art or silos if you had heard about him. But no, I'm not sure if he really needs an introduction as the CEO of NBIM and host of the In Good Company podcast. What you might not know about Nikolai is that he's also a serious foodie. So every summer he has some kind of project like research on barbecue sauces or pizza toppings and stuff like that. So I really look forward to the barbecue afterwards, Nikolai.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have done a lot of work into the barbecue today, Trond and I, so stay tuned.
Great.
Okay, so in this first part, we're going to look at this more from an organizational level. And let's start close to home with a question to you, Birgitte. So you've been leading our AI adoption efforts, but from where you sit, so overseeing both technology and operations, what has been your approach to introducing AI tools and capability to our organization? And also maybe you can touch upon what you think has worked well, what surprised you, and if you've kind of encountered any resistance or any challenges.
Generally, I would just say that in NBIM, we have this very powerful grassroots movement when it comes to adopting new technology. So we always have had people that are running towards new opportunities. But when AI came, we kind of understood that this is particularly powerful. This is going to really make a big change. So we decided that we probably need to do it a bit differently this time. So we introduced more like a comprehensive top-down approach when we started to look at this. And we've done many things. So the first thing we did was to establish an AI team. We really thought that it would be good to have a center of excellence in the organization and a place that could explore all the new models that are coming in, and they change all the time. We also wanted to make sure they had a good platform so that we could oversee all these things in a good way. And people come to them and ask questions, and they are the ones that are driving a lot of the initiatives forward. Secondly, we decided that we need some mandatory courses. So we've made internal 7-module courses that everybody had to participate on. And we believe that that has been very powerful for the organization. And we know that everybody at least is at some sort of level, minimum level. We also thought that we need more people in the organization that can help drive this as a big force. So we introduced an AI ambassador force of people, and they received more training than the others. So they are like in-house consultants, smaller consultants that can help out in the various teams to make sure that we have enough people to support. We set some bold statements on what we want to achieve. So currently our achievement should be 20% more efficiency. And I think everybody knows that in the organization, and they link their own performance to this goal. So everybody has to do something. We make sure that we talk to external vendors a lot, like OpenAI and Anthropic. We have brought in external expertise, like Alexander here. He has helped us a lot. So all in all, I mean, we have tried to just make sure that this is available for everyone. And one of those things that's also super important is that we make tools available, easy availability to the people. And for us, we have called it the 3 Cs, which is a Claude prompting engine that anyone can use without any kind of programming or that kind of skills from before. And then we use Cursor for those that are more in-depth developers that need more tools, more extravagant tools. And then, of course, Microsoft Copilot. So these are our 3 Cs, and we really push people to use it all the time. And we talk about it like all the time, and I mean like all the time.
I mean, we are talking all the time.
All the time.
I think it's pretty cool, actually, that it's not just the developers that use tools like Cursor, but actually people across the organization.
Yeah.
Non-developers as well.
Absolutely. So we're bringing down the hurdles, and it's about democratizing technology in general. So this is not dangerous at all. This is just like very much fun, to be honest. We talk about challenges.
You can think about that for a bit, Birgitte. We'll get back to you.
Yeah. So Robert, through your work at Capgemini, you meet with organizations across all industries across Europe. How does what Birgitte just described about AI adoption align with what you see?
Well, it's a bit worse than that because I work global, so not only Europe.
Even, yeah.
And I think most of our clients are also on your list of investments. So, but yeah. No, so I empathize with what we're talking English, eh? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I empathize with you on top-down and knowledge and enablement. So that's very good. But if you look at the big organizations that we serve that are really successful, this top-down is of course important. You need a top management that is really engaged, that is really using it. You also need a top management that is not naive. I mean, because this is risky business. I mean, the 1% and 2% improvements, they are easily to reach with AI, but the 10, 20, 30% also increases the risk profile that you're running. And not all sectors in the world actually tackle that. I mean, we have companies making airplanes. I don't want to sit in an airplane that is built with 20% more efficiency based on AI at the moment. I just don't want to do that. I mean, you want to have two wings that are similar. And the thing is that there is a risk profile on it, and when we look at it, I mean, like you said in the introduction, I've been working with AI really from before the internet. I started in '88 with cognitive psychology and artificial intelligence, and I've been always trying to sell this to people like you, and then the answer was like, oh, this is science fiction, come back next year. And now it is the other way around. And the interesting thing is really that it is a very cool and interesting technology, but we found out that there's two things that are really working well, and there's, at the moment, I mean, if you look at all this after ChatGPT stuff that comes on the market, there's two things that really work well, and they really work well, and that is multimodality. I've never seen multimodality working in my life so good as it does now. So pictures, text, numbers, sound, combine it, throw it together. We've tried it for decades. We never managed. It's working well now. I'm impressed. Analysts, reports, graphs, put them together with the text, make some sense out of it. It's good. Multilinguality. I mean, I've never had a system that could tackle my language because I speak 4 languages every day. I have a German wife. I live in Norway. I'm originally Dutch. My children speak TikTok English. I mean, you got all these languages blended, and I have a lot of English Indian colleagues. So I get all these influences from other cultures, and these models still understand me. So now you can talk with your car. That's also something that is extremely well. At the moment, we use it for little, too little. We could get much more out of this, because this is low risk, this is working. The two things that don't work well, that are underperforming, no matter what Sam Altman or Elon are saying, is really abstraction and logical reasoning. It's not there. There is no evidence that's in these models. Show me the contrary. And the other thing is really context and contextual awareness. I mean, as long as I worked with AI, as soon as you train the model and you got models read, as soon as you put them in the real world, in a real world context, where we people are also living, and there is some physical things and effects, these models are not maintaining world models that let them actually work well enough. So how long is it that Elon Musk promised self-driving cars? I think the first citation was 2015.
Yeah, I've stopped talking about Elon Musk.
No, but I mean,
I got into so much trouble.
To my defense, my PhD I did with Mercedes-Benz. So I worked with Mercedes-Benz on AI in the end of the 90s, and we made intelligent brake assistance systems and so on. One of the things that we saw now, the cars that are now licensed for SAE level 3 self-driving in Texas and California. It's not an American car, it's Mercedes-Benz. And why? Because they just didn't do the thing that others did, like scaling and more data is the thing. No, they said we need better data, we need world models, we need more dimensions, not only a camera with a lot of data. No, we need more dimensions. So Mercedes implemented that well. They were laughed at because they just collected data in the Stuttgart area. They didn't need more data, they say. And then they actually built world models and that kind of stuff in this, and multispectral images, and LiDAR, and all that kind of stuff. And they got SA3 self-driving certified. So this is also about using the data you have smartly. And maybe you don't need scaling, and you don't need all the data of the world. So these are interesting things. Right. Maybe I should just...
No, I wanted to bring Alexander also into this. So from your perspective, working directly with organizations, Alexander, so you're focusing on these practical AI solutions, just getting things to work. So what's your take on this? What are you seeing as the key factors that determines whether AI adoption actually delivers results and not just like expensive pilot projects?
Yeah. It's a good question. I think first and foremost, I think doing something is better than having this wait-and-see mentality. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, a lot of companies still have this sitting on the fence mentality. And I'm worried that we get derailed from definitions and discussions about, well, it's not yet performing reasoning to the level that we want. I mean, a year ago, we were comparably at the Stone Ages when we look at the model performances. So forget about it. You don't need a PhD in neural networks to use AI today. That's the key difference compared to last year. Now, anyone can use AI. So who succeeds? I think it starts with solving real business problems. It's not just saying, let's do AI. It needs to be strategic. It doesn't help that the CEO goes to the IT director and say, what are we doing about AI? And the IT director says, we've turned on Copilot. Tick the box. No. Solving Monday morning problems. That's what the real value is about, right? So I think a lot of pilots that fail, they fail because they try to achieve too much. So honestly, I think it's simple. Try to ship fast, do good enough solutions, get real feedback from users, and then iterate from there. I think that's where you get successful pilots that turn into production. Yeah.
Right. Nikolai, so in your role, you meet with business leaders from across the world. What do you think are the most important factors for adoption of AI?
No, you need to have a total maniac at the top, and you need to. I'm serious. This is just the biggest thing that we will ever experience as human beings. It's unbelievable what's going on now. Because there has never been a time in the world where one company who deploy this properly gain a 20% advantage on the other company in 1 year, and another 20, and another 20. And you know, when you have like gained 50 to 100% advantage on your competition, they will never catch up. You win, they die. You know, these companies are out of business, and it can happen in a 3-year time span now. So you can't wait for anything. You need to be maniacs at the top. You need to totally implement across everything you do. You need to have ambassadors just infiltrating your company, and you need to have events non-stop and mandatory to get everybody going. I mean, this is like deadly serious, you know?
Yeah, I think it helps with the maniac on top.
I hardly sleep these days because I'm just so totally super keen that we just get in front of everybody else, and you need to just—that's the mentality you need to have. You know, I was in California the week before last, and you know, had an hour with Bill Gates, and he had just spent the whole week talking to everybody who counts, right? Hassabis, Altman, you know, all the guys, and he was like, Nikolai, it's just like totally mind-boggling. I've been working on this for my whole life. I've never seen anything like it. And the speed is just accelerating. You know? And stuff we are doing now in the fund, we couldn't have done it 3 months ago. You know, we are like, you know, we own 9,000 companies. We monitor them real time in terms of headline risks and so on across the world. We monitor them live in 16 different languages, and we get notification if we get any headline on any company anywhere. In the past, it took us, you know, days Now it's like minutes. Real-time monitoring of the whole world. I mean, hello. You know, the way we can deploy capital much quicker, the way we can look at kind of wage packages and proposals. I mean, it's just incredible.
Why are not everybody doing this?
Well, I hope they are, but you know, and in a way, also at the same time, I hope they aren't, because because the advantages for the people who really take this on board is just immense.
All right, so if we shift our focus from organization to the individual level, and I'm sure many in the audience are wondering about how AI will shape their professional future. So coming back to you, Birgitte, again, and bringing it back home. So as someone who manages then both technology and operations, how is AI changing the skill set and capabilities that you need in your teams?
I think I would start by saying the ability to change and adapt to something new. I think that's the most important thing, as Nicolas says, and you can imagine how it was to have him back from that California trip when he came back to the office. But the ability to change, and also understand that you might have worked on something yesterday that you put a lot of effort into, and then today it might not have that much value. So I think that's one of the most important things. But of course, I mean, to have an education with some technology content is beneficial, absolutely, at least for us in this fund. So I think that those are the two most important things.
So asking for a friend then, will you need more developers going forward or less?
I think that we will need the developers, of course, absolutely. I think that we need developers, we need data scientists, we need also people that are good in investments. I mean, it's just like the collaboration between the various skill sets that's important for the future. But again, you have to be willing to change. You always have to be willing to embrace what's new and what's coming, and that it might or will definitely impact your daily work.
Alexander, you have said that AI will amplify our performance or our potential by 10 to maybe even 100 times. How should we prepare, us here, how should we prepare for being relevant in 2-3 years from now?
Yeah, I think I would agree with Birgitte. This is, to me, very exciting because it's about enabling and empowering people that could not develop or solve their own problems before. And now anyone can solve their own problems, right? But that doesn't mean that we don't need developers. So I think like the opportunity space is just growing dramatically, which means that we could keep the same number of developers, or we could double and solve 1,000 times more problems at the same time. But I think it's really naive. And I know this room is probably divided. There are those that hate AI-assisted coding and think it's just the worst thing that ever happened. And then others have jumped on. But I think it's naive to think that our job as developers will be the same a few years from now. I think that's just stupid, to be honest with you. Yeah. But I think, you know, those that embrace it will have the potential to be 10x or even 100x versions of themselves. And I think we'll see that smaller teams will be able to compete with large teams that are stuck in legacy ways of working. And I think, yeah, the future 10x version of a developer are those that embrace AI and become AI prolific, that collaborate with AI. And yeah, maybe they're a part engineer, a part product thinker, and a part AI whisperer. I think that's the future super developers.
Yeah. How about data?
Well, I think data was important before we got the level of AI we have today, but now it's become even more important. But I think, you know, this is something that scared a lot of people 10 years ago when we started talking about digitalization. And it was almost like an excuse, right? Oh, no, but we can't change our ways of working because I don't trust the data. But now with AI and the level of AI we have today, I think the visibility and sort of accountability becomes very clear, right? So now we're starting to make decisions assisted by AI. It just amplifies the requirement for data quality. I think that's where you guys have done really a good job on focusing on data quality and then empowering the organization, right? Letting it loose. You will break some glasses, but in controlled manners, and then you will spur a number of solutions that I don't think we would have been able to before in just having developers and IT departments working on this. Now the whole organization is working on it. I think that's the key difference.
Robert, So why is data engineering so much more important now with AI? We keep hearing that, right? That data quality and data engineering becomes more.
Also, data engineering has always been important. I mean, before ChatGPT, you built data models on your own data and you put them in production. Now we get global foundation models that are built on basically all data that's available in the world, on the World Wide Web. So there's no competitive advantage in using that if you don't know how to use these foundational models well and not inject your own data into it. So to your point, I mean, data engineering will be extremely important. It's your only competitive advantage. Because everybody can do 10, 100, and 1000x with the same foundational models, with the same strategies, and know how to prompt. So you need to add that extra. So and you see that. So India is actually trying to build models. They have 22 official languages, and they're building models for most of them so that they can enable all their smart people in all these regions in their own languages. I was on a motorcycle tour in Africa. Bedouin languages, they are known to foundational models, but you can't translate them with them because they're not modeled into them. And so there is a lot of things missing in these foundational models. Other things are available to everybody. So having your own data available, being able to inject that, build your own models in your own infrastructure structures with it, that is definitely a thing that we see changing a lot and very fast at the moment, like we've said several times. So at the moment, there is new things coming up all the time. We went from ChatGPT to RAG to GraphRag to whatever. Now we're talking about agentic AI, whatever that might mean. But I mean, we have had all this kind of agents have been there for many years. We've been building them into the cars for 20 years ago already, with and without AI. Now we see an enablement with these large language models and foundational models that make them extremely powerful. If you want to make them powerful, autonomous with authority and agency, large action models and so on, we will see a lot of changes. And you can not only break small things, like you said, in a controlled fashion, but you can also break large things in a non-controlled fashion. And we need to find out how to deal with that, because this is a different way of thinking, a different way of working, and we have not really fully understood it, not at scale. And that is definitely an issue that I see more and more.
Right, Nikolai, I have a bit of a tough question for you also on this. So,
bring it on.
Yeah, so this is the elephant in the room. Will people lose their jobs to AI?
Well, for sure, the people who don't use AI will lose their jobs.
I hope so. Yeah.
I mean, here at NBIM, if you don't use AI, you will never be promoted, right? Because you will lag so much behind everybody else. So, so will you lose your jobs? For sure, not in the short term. I think it's all about making the efficiency better and so on. But in the longer term, there are some type of jobs that will be challenged, right? Lawyers, accountants, engineers, all these kind of things. And I think that's when you look at the time we are at now, you will have many type of jobs which will be challenged in the white-collar space, but at the same time, with the humanoids and so on coming in the tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands next year and the year beyond, we have challenges on the blue-collar side too. So we are at an incredibly interesting time.
So do you think we'll see, like here in NBIM, do you think we'll see like fully autonomous digital portfolio managers anytime soon?
No, we never have anything that goes straight from AI to execution or trade, right? There's always a human in between, and so all the investment decisions here are being taken by us. Just one thing on agentic. We did a podcast with Ethan Mollick, the Wharton professor, who is very strong on the implementation of AI in your daily life. So we did a podcast with him, which is coming out tomorrow, and he's showing some live cases of agentic AI use, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So tune in tomorrow.
Yep.
8 o'clock.
Nice trailer.
Well.
Just also a question to the panel about AI maybe adoption. Do you see generational differences in how people are adopting AI tools? Is it just the younger people who are doing this, or is it throughout their careers? What do the panel think? So, Alexander, maybe start with.
Well, I think age has obviously plays a big role. I think there have been some surveys and statistics about this as well. I think it's maybe more about how they use it, right? So I think Gen Z, more than 50% are using it as a sort of a life partner for any decision, and it's almost like they're not making any decisions without first conferring with ChatGPT. And I think maybe the millennials and or baby boomers maybe are more in the category of starting out with improving the speech for their confirmation party or something like that. So yeah, I think it has a little bit to do with age and how prone you are to changing your ways of working. But yeah, I think we need to share and we need to show each other the opportunities with AI.
But it's really cool what's happened. If you just think about the last 10 years. 10 years ago, who were the heroes in the workplace? The old farts like me, right? The old people. They were really the leading stars. Then, 5 years ago, who were the leading stars? Well, they were the young people, right? Who could code. Because if you could code Python, you were like a hero. So then all the old people felt like losers, and the young people, they felt like heroes. Then ChatGPT comes along, then suddenly it's changing again. No, the old people, like me, we can code, right? We don't need these people anymore. And so it's like, it's upside down, the whole thing. So basically, age has been neutralized, which is really cool. It means another thing. Being mid-level managers. In the old days, it meant that you took whatever the guys at the top said, and you transmitted it down through the organization, right? Now, you also function as a root system. You suck up the technology from elsewhere in the organization, and you transmit it to the top. So being a mid-level manager has totally changed over the last 3 years, I would say. Your function has totally changed. It's really fascinating. I mean, we are living through some total revolutions now in corporate life. I mean, it's so much fun, no?
Yeah.
What it means is that it's so much more fun to work these days compared to in the past. Most people who leave a company, they leave because they don't have challenges, they don't feel they learn, they don't feel they're being challenged. Now, you learn every day. I was in the London office on, when was that, Greta? Was it?
Friday.
Friday. Yeah. And I sit down with people, it's just like, Nikolai, it's so much fun at work now. We feel challenged, we feel we learn, It's personal development. I mean, this is cool stuff.
Because I think we're running out of time here, but we wanted to have like a final rapid question to all of you. So if you had to give the audience here one key insight about AI's impact going forward, what would it be? Let's start with you, Nikolai.
It's changing your life. It's upside down. It's just to get in there and spend all your time on it. and if you don't think you've got time to really educate yourself on AI, you are just totally not getting it, because just leave. I come into rooms now and say, leave everything you do. It doesn't matter. It's totally unimportant what you're doing now. Just train yourself, because you're going to become so much more efficient.
And it's so much easier to learn and train yourself with AI
Absolutely.
now.
What's your answer?
It is probably even more interesting, because I don't think you need to understand AI at the moment, and you don't need to learn it. And if I see my discussions with my clients, I haven't been discussing technology for the last 4 or 5 months, I think. What we're discussing, especially with this agentic AI, what we're discussing now is really, okay, I can give you an unlimited amount of employees. So what are you going to do? What are you going to solve? What is actually your plan? So now it's not even an AI strategy. It is, what is your strategy? Because companies need to rethink their whole strategy now. And that is this top-down thinking that needs to come. So what kind of advice can you give? Well, at least be not naive, learn about, use it. I mean, you learn by using. And see where you strand and see what you find out. I mean, like you say, you can do coding. Maybe you are successful, maybe not. You can make analyst reports. Maybe you can replace Nikolai, maybe not. I mean, try it. Use this technology. I mean, there are so many things that you can do with it. And I speak a lot with young people. I worked with the Nieuwe Dijkmanske, with the project at the time. And then we were discussing what it should be, a library or not. And then I said, no, it should be, no, we should make a meeting place. So I go there every now and meet like 14, 15 years old. And last time, there was one guy, Nathan, from Gruvut. He came up to me, and we talked together, and he said, like, I'm going to start a company. And he said, I'm going to use AI, I'm going to start a company. So I said, okay, I want to follow up. So now we have regular follow-ups, because I want to see how he does this, like, this is so cool. people see possibilities where you never seen them.
How about you, Alexander? What's your...
Well, I think you have a saying in NBIM, AI won't take your job, someone using AI will, and I think that's spot on the mentality. So if you're early in your career now, that's the only advice. Jump on it and learn to be proficient with AI. I tell my kids all the time, use your words. That's your biggest asset. Learn how to communicate and collaborate with AI. And then you'll leapfrog 10 years for those who don't. So that gap will just increase.
But remember that the human brain is still superior in contextual awareness and contextuality. I mean, AI is not. So
but that's what we bring, right? That's what we can bring when we collaborate with AI. We bring taste, we bring opinion, we can scrutinize, and we can be the one with the critical thinking. So, you know, people ask me all the time, are we going to become more stupid when we just leave all our decision-making to AI? Or are we going to become less creative? I think on the contrary. With AI, you can expand and you can challenge your thinking. You can look at different perspectives. And it just opens up the opportunity for us to create 1,000 campaigns instead of 1 campaign or 10 campaigns. That's the magic of it. 10x or 100x.
But then I just have a question for you, because Amazon, there was just a letter of 6 programmers from Amazon, and they said, our job is so boring at the moment because we get all this AI-delivered code, and we're just doing the code review, and we are not the kind of programmers that love code review. And I don't know how many programmers you know that love code review.
You know, most developers for the last 10 years, they've been going on Stack Overflow, sifting through comments and picking out and copy-pasting code. It's the same thing. It's just a new, more advanced way of doing it now.
But by doing that, you learn about coding. You learn about creating the program. And now you get the program delivered and you're reviewing it. So how do you get the experience?
I think the key difference
you get the AI to review it.
No, I think the key thing is we're now, as developers, for those who are developers, I think, why would you want to handwrite all the code? There is no value in handwriting all the code. If you can spend your time on orchestrating, on architecting, on designing, that's where we add value as human beings. So at the end of the day, yes, some people love to create very beautiful lines of code, but at the end of the day, we just want solutions that work, right?
This discussion will continue afterwards.
Yes, I love it.
I just have to echo what other people say. I just embrace it, share use cases, inspire the organization, and just open up, because it's just fun and exciting and full of opportunities, and that's how we have embraced it, at least.
Yep. Thanks all for those engaging and insightful perspectives on how AI will impact our jobs. I'm sure, as you said, the conversation will continue throughout this evening. Now we will have a 10 minutes break. But before that, let's have an applause.
Okay, I hope all of you got to stretch your legs and are ready for the last part of today. So next up is security. And I guess you can imagine that NBIM is an attractive target for cyber criminals. So that means that we need to have full control of the security aspect. And luckily, we have the best security team in the world. And 2 of them are going to present for you today. That's Selina Heimdal Brynildsen and Johan Selnes, who are going to talk a little bit about how we run our security operations. Please.
What if the hours used on manual cyber investigations could be reclaimed without sacrificing control and insight? This is a question that we have asked in NBIM. And today, Johan and I are going to show you how AI has helped us make this vision a reality.
Yes, and to quickly run through the goals, we're going to have just a quick run-through of a very cool AI use case that we have developed and are using today. Then we're going to dig a bit deep and try and understand some of the main building blocks that make this AI workflow work, and also is generally applicable to most other advanced AI workflows as well. And then we're going to speculate a bit about the future, because that's on brand as well.
In NBIM, we have a cyber response team that run a 24/7 security and operations center. This means that we are constantly monitoring, analyzing, and responding to threats. What does this mean in practice? Well, you can be in deep REM sleep when your phone buzzes with a high priority alarm. This is a type of alarm that can make it look like the oil fund has just vanished. And let's just say it is expected that we wake up extremely fast. But here is where it gets interesting. Because as mentioned, in NBIM, we are bringing AI more and more into the loop. And in cyber response, we aren't just using AI to raise alarms, but to contextualize them. And what does that mean? Well, let me take you through an incident. It is 2 a.m. on a Sunday, and you wake up from your phone buzzing. A high priority alarm has just come into our monitoring platform. This is the type of call that spikes your heart rate to 180 before you can even process what's going on. But you immediately know that something bad might be happening. However, no time to waste. We get up, we get dressed, and we are by our desk within seconds. We log in, we launch our monitoring platform, and there it is. Malware detected on a device. It's vague, but kind of heavy. What malware? What device? Is it a lateral movement? Is this just false alarm? In that moment, everything is a possibility. And it's our job to find out fast. So while our mind goes through all the possibilities and our hands are going through the usual triage steps, something is working in the background. Our integrated AI bot. So this is the alarm in our monitoring platform, Sentinel. Malware detected, and on your right-hand side, you see a text block with some info covered over. It is not expected that you read it all, but it do hold key information. What has happened, which system has triggered, and in this case, it informs about a document containing malicious code. And this is where our integrated AI bot comes into play. Instead of giving us raw data, it creates an executive-level summary of what it believes has happened. This gives us a narrative. It gives us a storyline, something that's actionable. Then it goes deeper. It does a user analysis. Who is the user? Is the user compromised? Is it expected that this type of user work with this type of documents? Then it looks at the document. When was it created? When was it last modified? Who has accessed it and when? And it takes all of this information and generates a timeline leading up to the alarm. Then it gives investigation guidance. What are the next steps or recommended next steps based on previous cases? And lastly, it gives a tentative conclusion. Does it believe this is a threat or a false alarm? So instead of starting from zero, we start several steps ahead, with context, with direction, and a bit more clarity about the alarm. But can we trust the information? The short answer, yes, but with oversight, with human oversight. It is important to remember that an AI is just a tool. It is not a final decision maker. So even though the information it gives is mostly accurate and quite helpful, it's still based on probabilities. It doesn't know in a human sense, it predicts, which means it can make mistakes. So it is important to remember that the output you receive from, or we receive from our AI model can be looked at as a first step. It is not a final verdict. It is up to us to validate the findings, make the judgment calls, and take action. But Johan, how does our AI bot really work?
Well, that is a very interesting question, and I'm going to try and break it down into a couple of key components that I would argue powers most advanced AI applications these days. The first and maybe the most important thing to know about is something called the React loop. The React loop is sort of a 5-stage process that most AI workflows that are able to do stuff and can react to things follow. And that is basically a process where you have some sort of question, say, what websites did this machine visit, or what URLs did this user talk to? And then that is the initial input. Then the AI has a series of tools available to it, and it can reason about which one should I use, what will be helpful to try to solve this task. Then it executes one of those tools, it gets feedback, and then a new prompt is triggered to basically analyze the feedback, and then it flows back to the thought step again, where it again sort of iterates, should I call a new tool, am I now finished? And then it basically iterates like that until it has solved the task. And this is basically the way most reactive AI applications work these days. In addition, this React loop works quite well for simple tasks, but it has a problem when stuff starts becoming more complex, especially, for example, like security incidents. They can be sort of like you start digging at stuff, but there might not really be anything to find. It's a bit of a diffuse problem. And then AI has a tendency to sort of just get stuck in a rabbit hole and not really achieve anything. So in addition to running stuff in a React loop, we also have what's called a multi-agent architecture. And that is basically where we have a bunch of different agents with their own set of instructions and their own set of basically recipes on how to solve different problems, operate independently. And then we have basically a top-level manager agent that is tasked with generating up tasks and divvying them up until to the sub-agents. And the sub-agents might be, for example, an agent that specializes in analyzing threat intelligence stuff, so looking at like bad domains or IP addresses and other kinds of stuff. Or it might be an agent that specializes in looking at, for example, our log data, or looking at our users, or looking at machines, and so on and so forth. So you basically divide and conquer the task, and each of those sub-agents run their task in their own React loop, with sort of a set limit of how much they are allowed to use, so that if one just gets stuck in a loop, it just reports back, I couldn't do anything, and then new tasks are generated, and so on and so forth. This is actually quite similar to how many of these modern AI chat apps use something called deep research. If you ever click that button, what basically happens in the background is that they create a bunch of tasks to investigate, and then they spin that off to agents that usually go and browse the internet to try and find information, and then they compile down a report and present it to the user. We do that basically as well, but we just look at all our internal stuff instead. But in addition to that, we run the manager agent in a React loop. So when we get information back, we basically create a new iteration with new tasks, and so on and so forth. So we run this up to maybe 10 times, and it takes approximately somewhere between 10 to 15 minutes. And the results we get are actually quite good, I would say. Like we have been very impressed with this workflow. The final thing that is needed to make this type of application or workflow work is a set of tools. Like you need to basically build tools to allow the AIs to fetch information and fetch knowledge from your infrastructure or whatever they are supposed to work on. So we spent a lot of time building a bunch of integrations to different stuff to be able to get information where they need it. And these days, something called MCP is like a very big hype in the AI world. It's basically just a standard for how to build tools. So this is what we use as well. And it works really well, and it's really simple to create these tools these days. And it also has the advantage that we can reuse these tools to, for example, integrate them into our normal AI chat apps. So if you want a more interactive approach to sort of looking at your own data and just doing stuff, then you can just do it in like a normal chat app as well. So when we basically compile all this together, we get a really, really good result. But there is some sort of, I would say, key drawbacks. I would say roughly 90 to 95% of the time, we get a really good result. That is, like, we can trust it almost exactly, and all we really do is to just verify that the work that is presented is correct. It saves us a ton of time. And then the other 5%, usually what happens is that the AI has a tendency to think that stuff that isn't really bad is bad. So it's probably quite a good problem to have, rather than it thinking that stuff that is bad is not bad at all. So looking a bit ahead, are we currently at the stage where AIs can think like humans, or are they still statistical parrots? Well, at least from our experience, doing type 1 thinking and simple thinking, that is basically solved. Like, an AI is basically as good as any human at what you would call like very reactionary, quick responses or thinking. But when it comes to doing more complex tasks that requires context switching, that requires sort of deciding, now I spent enough time on this, I need to switch over to this, and do more complex stuff, at least from our experience and what we've seen others do as well, AIs haven't really gotten that much better at it, to be completely honest, and all of the workflows and stuff that's built to do this basically has like a scaffolding that is built by humans, that is sort of a designed workflow or recipe, or if you want to call it that. So that's basically what our current problems are. But looking a bit ahead, like AI models have gotten a ton better just over the last year. So like problems that we had to work around with regards to like context length or like size of input and that kind of stuff has already gotten a lot easier to solve. But the problem still remains that it's very difficult for models to do this complex workflow. But of course, if we see models that are no longer just static, that they are as they are now, where they just train and then they're shipped out to the world and they are basically producing the exact same result every single time, but you can instead sort of just tell the model, like, this is not how we do it in our firm, you should do it like this, and it will be able to learn that. That, I imagine, would be like the next step that needs to be solved for AI to approach more type 2 solution solving. But we haven't really seen anything that we're there yet, but there's a ton of money and smart people working on it, so we will see. In addition, just to pull on some more stuff, some really, really advanced flows from something called Alpha Evolve has currently also been presented, where they basically let AIs modify the scaffold that builds the workflow and change stuff around and sort of tweak parameters and see if stuff gets better and whatnot. This is sort of the bleeding edge where AIs themselves are starting to tweak and work on the scaffold that orchestrates these workflows. But again, the big bottleneck that sort of we see with both reasoning models and other stuff is that you need the problem to be very verifiable. Like if you can say that because we did this, now the performance is slightly better, or now the solution is correct, or now it's not correct, and then you can sort of reinforce and change accordingly. But problems that are not verifiable are still very much sort of difficult to see improvements on, I would say. So yeah, but sort of to pull it back, we still think that what we've done here is like super useful. We use it all the time, and it saves us a ton of time. But we will not let this run NBIM security department anytime soon. It's still very much at a stage where we need to have a look at it and figure out if what it has done makes sense. So that's about it. And if anyone is interested about the technical details, I'm also going to have like a full talk on this at Sikkerhetsfestivalen in a couple of months' time. So we'll show up there.
Thank you. And now over to, let me see. Now over to something that I'm really proud of, the data platform we have here at NBIM. Eivind Eraker, he will tell us about how our very modern data platform has been amplified by utilizing AI on top of it. So, Eivind.
Thank you, Kjetil. So I'm Øyvind. I work as a senior data engineer here at NBIM within Kjetil's data core team. And we have been working a lot, as the rest of NBIM, with AI these days. I'm going to start off with a quote. And this is anonymized for you, Trond, so no one will kind of recognize you based on this. But a senior management member told me that if he needs data, he would request it from the chief investment officer. The CIO will task their head. They will direct an analyst who knows the data and SQL, who will actually extract the data from Snowflake, our analytical platform, who will export it into Excel, and then send it back through the same chain. And this is kind of not very fast. And if Trond has forgotten a column or a dimension or a filter, it's the whole loop again. And this is not because Trond is not like competent within data or SQL or anything, but it's due to the fact that we have immense amounts of data in Snowflake. And to put this in the context of our data platform, we are ingesting hundreds of sources from APIs, from databases, from files, from data vendors, etc., etc. And we use Fivetran to ingest that data into Snowflake, where we host our analytical platform. And there we store it as raw data, both historical and live data. And then we use dbt extensively to connect the dots and transform that raw data into model data. Which is then again consumed downstream by different tools like Tableau, Python, Streamlit, and many more. This, like in total, this amounts to, as I mentioned, hundreds of sources. We have thousands of terabytes of data. We have hundreds of thousands of objects. So Snowflake is pretty much like a data jungle. It's really difficult to kind of know your way around. And as you can see, like we don't have any specific tools in this architecture for finding data, exploring data, or for like having the business users closer to our data. However, we have like a madman on top, which is great, and we have an amazing AI team who have onboarded the 3 Cs, as Birgitte mentioned previously, which is like a perfect fit for this purpose, like closing the gap between data and the business. And two of the Cs in this context would be Cursor, our development tool, for example, and Claude, which is probably even more relevant for this case. And this is where we do like our everyday work. It can write emails, read, like think ChatGPT if you haven't heard about Claude. However, limitation for Claude and these LLMs are, as you probably know, they are trained on publicly available information and like outdated information based on which models you're using, for example. And then, as Johan mentioned previously, Anthropic launched this winter the concept of Model Context Protocol, which is in practice just a framework for connecting the LLMs with whatever you would like. So we have built our own MCPs, MCP servers, Model Context Protocol, in Python, and they can speak to, for example, Snowflake, dbt, GitHub, whatever API, or if you can do it in Python, you can have it as an MCP, pretty much. And this kind of unleashes a new dimension of using, for example, Claude or Cursor. So this is going to be a bit small for you in the back, but I'll narrate as we go. And it's going to go a bit fast. We'll rewind as well. This is the user interface of a project in Claude. So this is the Snowflake Data Catalog project we have with a predefined set of instructions and context. And this is available to everyone. And everyone knows how to use it thanks to the AI modules and training we've had internally. So what Trond could do here is writing something like, where can I find information about our holding data? Without knowing, like, to be honest, without knowing even what Snowflake is. And then you can see the LLMs working with this response, fetching data from all of these MCPs and tools, and collecting it, abstracting it, doing what LLMs do best. And then it will, as a main response here, provide you with some findings or suggestions in a sense. If we jump like back to the top, so we can see what's actually going on here, is that straight after it gets the question, it will find out that, oh, this is a good use case for the Snowflake MCP. And then it writes some queries, SQL, pushes it down to Snowflake, gets responses. Based on that response, it will create new queries, push it down to Snowflake, and then it will kind of iterate until it's satisfied with its findings. And then it will also use that information to find out that, hey, oh, this is DBT models. Let's find some quality metrics from the DBT API, which we've also integrated. And then it uses all of these information from Snowflake and DBT and connects it into a response, like a retrieval augmented generation, where it will present you with a number of models, tables with key quality metrics, responsibles, sensitivity, etc. And then this, like without even knowing what Snowflake is, you don't have to know SQL or anything. You can pretty fast find out what we have and where we have it. As this is not limited to metadata only. So since Claude can use the Snowflake data, you could also keep going and asking something like, I want to explore the equity holdings. That was a match for our use case. Please do some data digging, and then it will once again create SQLs, aggregations, pull out different metrics, slice and dice on dimensions, and then it will create an artifact for us, performing like a visualization where you will get the detailed breakdowns according to live updated information, pretty much, as well as a text response. So you can now browse both the numbers and graphs. And this is just like, this is the tip of the iceberg. Just like think how this could be used in developer tools or in agents or whatever. So now, from Trond could have gone now from not knowing where data is to actually having the data readily available. So this is quite amazing. And it's heavily utilized across the organization as well. So I'm gonna, this is mind-boggling to me as well. And I'm gonna wrap up with another quote stating that the future is not tomorrow, it is today. And that is, of course, Nikolai. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for listening in.
Thank you, Øyvind. Next on the agenda, we have two people that are going to present how we have integrated AI into our organization and how we are training our employees on this. So please welcome Iselin Sommereng and Stian Kirkeberg.
Thank you. We will kick it off with a video that's tied to one of our training programs here in NBIM.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Humans have always been in motion. From the time of cave paintings, where we captured the world with simple strokes, to the agricultural revolution, we tamed nature, built societies, gained time to think. Then came the machine. We shaped steel and steam, crossed continents, produced at volumes the world had never seen. The 20th century brought a technological explosion. We connected the planet, created the internet, exchanged ideas across borders, and now, artificial intelligence, the most profound tool humanity has ever created. It amplifies our creativity, accelerates our discoveries, and helps solve our greatest challenges. This isn't just technology, it's a fundamental extension of human potential, a partner in our continued evolution. The possibilities are endless. Where the journey goes from here, that's up to you.
Yes. So it's all up to each and one of us to leverage on AI. Or else you will fall behind, as we heard earlier today. And AI is a focus in all of NBIM right now?
Yes, AI is a focus in all of NBIM. The tools are available for everyone.
And these tools are of no value if no one is using them. And as Birgitte mentioned earlier today, we are going to talk about how we adopted, how we have worked with adoption in NBIM.
A few months ago, Nikolai gave us the task of becoming 20% more efficient. He was not really sure what he meant as he said, the stuff I do. Because the stuff he does is not the same as I do, nor is Celine, or a trader, a portfolio manager, an analyst, a developer. So I'm not exactly sure what he does all the time, so not sure what any of us do all the time, but I'll get back to that. So we need to try and approach this a bit academic. So with a good methodology, we turn to a professor at Wharton, Ethan Mollick, and he has some good thoughts on how we all should adopt AI into our work and also into our daily life. So we tried to take Ethan's work, adapt it to our own, and broke it down into 4 key areas: tools, project, processes, and habits. So first of all, as we have discussed today, we need tools to get everyone productive. We selected Claude as our chat client. We selected Cursor for development, Copilot for Office, for everything Office-related, transcribing, meeting, etc. And we call these our 3 Cs. Later on, we added the 4th one, Claude Code. And if you haven't tried that one out, you should really check it out. It's really good for Claude, for vibe coding. And as Øyvind were mentioning here earlier, the MCPs, the Model Context Protocol. It was a standard that Anthropic delivered. It was not really meant for production usage. Even though Øyvind's slide here said it was servers, it was really deployed to each and every individual laptop in the whole organization. We still rolled it out to everyone. And as you expect, that came with much expected trouble and instability. And we have experienced a bit of that. Not too much, thank God for that. But now we are trying to fix that because the draft specification of remote MCP is out, and we are deploying that centrally to one of our AWS accounts. So no more local installation on the laptops. We are sharing the knowledge bases in one AWS account, so we can tap into it all together. We are sharing connections and more. And you might guess where we then are going with such a setup as this. And the easiest way for anyone to learn is to try the things out for yourself. And there we used Claude projects. And I even showed you one of these. And they're a great place to actually just try out new things, improve them, and do your POCs there, proof of concept, before you take it anywhere further. You don't need any developer resources or anything like that. As of now, we have more than 27,000 different projects in Claude. And keep in mind, we are only 700 employees. So to us, that is a lot. These projects have been shared, they're private, they have been thrown away. We have a lot of duplicates, and we know that, but it's okay, as long as people have learned, improved, and adapted the technology. We are only going to keep the best one of these 27,000 projects nonetheless. And the next thing is processes. How do we do our work? As we are a public institution, we are, unfortunately, pretty bureaucratic. So how can we make our processes more efficient? Do you have policies in place which do not make sense with the introduction of AI? So we, as an example, have thousands and thousands of pages in Confluence, which is thoughtfully created by people, but hardly read later on. And it's also really difficult for anyone to find the updated version of the latest page. So is that the right way to approach it going forward? Probably not. We need to make sure that our work scales beyond us, help us optimize, and rethink how things are done. Because we can't waste time solving the same problems over and over again when you can't find the documentation you actually need. So AI can help us get rid of those manual processes and automate them. And finally, the habits. If we are to improve efficiency, we need to change the way we are working. If we do not change the way we work, we haven't gained anything. But habits are really, really hard to change. People like to come in and do the same things they did yesterday because that's comfortable. Changing habit is uncomfortable for everyone. So that doesn't cut it anymore. You need to bring AI to the table in everything you do all the time. It doesn't matter if you're writing code, analyzing a company, or writing a report. AI is your own personal intern assistant to whom you delegate all the work you can, the boring and also the fun things, because you need to free up more of your own time. So to change habits, you need to give them the tools and consistently nudge people again and again and again to get them going. So how did we work on this, Iselin?
Well, first of all, it's really important with the close collaboration with the AI team and technology and our team people development, where we work with the pedagogical principles and behavioral models to get adoption going and training and learning. In 2025, we have Tech Year. And we are focusing and accelerating our focus on AI. And just listen to this video of Oscar, who is an AI ambassador, and Nikolai.
All right, Nikolai, an exciting year to the start of the year of 2025 in AI with DeepSeek, NVIDIA, etc. What's on the agenda for NBIM this year?
Well, the thing is that it's going to totally fill the whole agenda. You are going to hear about AI every day when you wake up. I'm going to totally bombard you with it. It's going to be hackathons, going to be tech days, tech month, tech week, tech hour, everything. Every Monday meeting, I'm going to bang on about it. Every time. Nice. It's totally transformational and revolutionary.
Perfect. And as part of that, also we have an AI course that we're doing internally. Why is it so important that everyone participates in this?
Because we just need to get everybody up at a proper level. Because if you haven't started to use it, you will be slow and you will be parked.
Yes. So there is no doubt, right? There's a really strong tone from the top. It's a sense of urgency. And everyone in the fund is measured on AI in the performance management processes. And as Nikolai says, if you don't use or adopt AI, someone else will surpass you, as he said earlier. But diving into Tech Year, what do we actually do? So as you can see here, it's quite packed with activities. But to highlight a few, we started off with a comprehensive AI ambassadors program. We have now 40 ambassadors, and we have done training in 2 rounds. So one completed and one is ongoing at the moment. And then we have Tech Days. That's inspirational days, the one in the orange with the star. So we just had one, super exciting with different types of inspirational speeches, but also really hands-on, where you learn and really get your fingers dirty. So the aim is to inspire and to learn in these different happenings. And they are hosted in all our local offices across the globe. Then we also have had AI developers training with, as you've heard, about MCPs and RAG. And we just finished our AI upskill program, and after summer we will also have a training in vibe coding. So let's dive into AI upskill. And this contains of 7 modules. It's mandatory, so everyone needs to take these modules. And it's training on our 3 Cs. So now you probably know them. It's Claude, Cursor, and Copilot. And this is essentially about changing habits. And that's a consistent theme throughout. And we are really trying to take it down, removing all the buzz and reaching that what's in it for me mentality or dimension. And the goal is to become more efficient and understand how to get going, to lower those barriers that Stian was talking about in terms of changing the habits. And these sessions are bit-sized, meaning 30 minutes every other week, and really hands-on. So what about the effect? What are we succeeding, and what are we seeing so far? Well, working with training or learning and development, it's not always that you see a change in behavior or a habit necessarily. But in this initiative, we can actually track it. So we see a really clear connection after each module. It's an all-time high activity in Cursor or Claude. And we have now 250 active users in Cursor who is using it for coding, which is really amazing. And we have estimated so far that we have saved 150 million in work hours. So looking ahead, well, we need to keep up the pace, right? It's an extreme race between the AI companies. They deliver new things all the time. And we evolve alongside of AI. And with any new technology, as we all know, it will be hiccups, it will be setbacks. But when something doesn't work 100%, you don't abandon it. You try again, and you find new ways. So this will require adaptability, resilience, a growth mindset, and testing, failing, and learning. Those who will do that, they will succeed. So looking ahead now, Stian, we need to think totally different, not only improving our current processes, but actually fundamentally looking at how we work.
Yes. So I believe we hit the 20% efficiency months ago. And Nikolai's and the leadership backing for that has been crucial. But goals evolve. As Nikolai said a couple of times, this is an OILO moment, once in a lifetime opportunity. AI will totally change how we work. So history shows us that real efficiency gains are only come when we stop doing something or doing the task entirely. So the washing machine didn't improve laundry by 20%. It freed up time, right? Dishwasher eliminated hand washing. Calculators killed manual calculation. Now the robot X1 Neo can clean up your house, do your dishes, and cook for you. So you have freed up even more time. So for us, the same principle applies. We need to radically think different about work itself. Much of what we do is pseudo work, tasks that exist only because of how our work is structured, not because they create value themselves. We fill out forms that feed other forms. We attend meetings to plan meetings. We create reports that nobody reads. Efficiency isn't about doing more work. It's about doing the right work. Let humans do what humans excel at. Trust AI with everything else. Thank you.